Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone, and nice to know we didn't have to pull our umbrellas out. I think we caught up on the drought. So I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. My name is Tanya Romine, and I'm a member of this congregation. And I'm your worship associate today. How about that? So on behalf of the Reverend Dave Dunn, today's speaker, Joel Cotman, who is a member of Georgia Mountain's UU Church of Dahlonega, intern minister, Liz Martin, director of religious exploration, Lexi T. Brown, music director, Alex Peach, and today's accompanist, Meredith McCaskey. The greeters, the technical team are all making today's live stream possible. I would like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation, which we lovingly call UUMAN. UUMAN is a liberal faith community with the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, whom you love, or where you are on your spiritual journey, all are welcome here. Welcome to all that are joining us remotely. For any visitors who are here with us for the first time, and if you are comfortable doing so, we'd love for you to stand and tell us who you are and where you are from so we can get to know you a little better. Do we have any visitors on my left?
Hi, I'm Robin Cotton. I'm Joel's mom, a.k.a. Joel's mom.
Hey, Robin.
I'm a member and former president of the Georgia Mountain's Unitarian Universalist congregation in Dahlonega, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. It's great to have you. Anyone else on my left? No? How about my right? That's okay. You're fine. Wonderful. What was your name? Clara. Nice to have you. Very nice to see you. Anyone else on my right? Well, we are grateful for everyone who has joined us today. We joyfully welcome children and families in workshop. The sounds of children are part of our living congregation. There are busy hands with little ones. And there is a fidget corner in the back right, so if anyone would like to fidget, please feel free. Nursery care for babies and toddlers is available and opens before the service begins. After the Wondering Time story, children will be sung out to Children's Chapel in Fellowship Hall. We have a few announcements this morning. First, we want to thank you very much for your generous contributions in the NFCC Backpack Drive. You know, we do this annually, and it is always a pleasure to see what we can do. UUMAN provided 15 backpacks, 440 school supply items, and $106.24 in additional cash, which will be applied to the July 50/50. Your support of the children's of North Fulton is greatly appreciated. Next Sunday, August the 2nd, Reverend Dave is returning. He will be back for our new church year. Join us for our annual in-gathering water communion service. Please bring a sample of your sacred water to be mingled with our sacred waters of the past. We will be doing a blessing of backpacks or briefcases if that's still a thing. And finally, a reminder to join people who are interested in, a reminder to join people interested in leading the Social Justice Committee after service today at 11 a.m. That will be downstairs in room 1. So if you are interested in leading that committee, please join us down there. Now is the time that we are going to greet everyone with a hand or elbow of friendship, whichever makes you most comfortable.
Let us enter into worship with these words. If you're with us for the first time or the 1,000,000th time, you are welcome here. If you believe in many gods, a god or goddess, or no gods at all, or you're just open to the mystery, you are welcome here. If you are gay, straight, bisexual, transgender, cisgender, or just trying to wrap your head around what all of that means, you are welcome here. If you're covered in tattoos or you're a blank canvas, you are welcome here. If you're a citizen or undocumented, searching for work or retired or whatever the shade of your skin, you are welcome here. If you shout, "Amen," after each song or sentence, can I get one? Amen. Thank you. Or if you prefer to turn your video off and blend into the background for those of you on Zoom, you are welcome here. If you come here sober, addicted, or somewhere in between, you are welcome here. If you are deep in grief, if you're celebrating from the bottom of your feet to the tippy top of your head, you are welcome here. Your whole self, all that you are, all that you were, and all that you long to be is welcome here. And you are just where you should be, in a space full of compassionate, thoughtful, justice-seeking Unitarian Universalists ready to welcome you home.
We are all capable in different ways, with various strengths and talents. We are all wholly part of the universe and the interdependent web. We light this chalice, cherishing our differences and holding each other in sacredness. Now, if you will please join us as you're willing and able to rise and sing hymn number 1053, How Could Anyone, in the softback hymnal. This is a time of our service where children, young and old, are invited to the front of our church for time for all ages. After the story, children are invited to exit into Fellowship Hall for Children's Chapel for the remainder of the service. If this is your child's first time attending Children's Chapel, please walk them to Fellowship Hall. After second hour, summer RE programming will take place in Fellowship Hall. Today's story is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, and Cassie is going to read that for us. Oh, okay.
Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. A told B and B told C, I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. Wee, said D to E, F, G, I'll beat you to the top of the coconut tree. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, will there be enough room? Here comes H up the coconut tree. And I and J and tag along K, all on their way up the coconut tree. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, will there be enough room? Look who's coming, LMNOP. And QRS and TUV. Still more, W and XYZ, the whole alphabet up the, oh no. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Skit, scat, skittle, doop, flip, flop, flee, everybody running to the coconut tree. Mamas and papas and uncles and aunts hug their little dears, then dust their pants. Help us, cried ABC. Next from the pileup, skinny D and stub toe E and patched up F. Then comes G, all out of breath. H is tangled up with I, J and K are about to cry, L is knotted like a tie. M is looped, N is stooped, O is twisted alley-oop, skit, scat, scoodle doop, flip, flop, flee. Look who's coming, it's black-eyed P, QRS, and loose-toothed T. Then UVW, wiggle jiggle free, last to come XYZ, and the sun goes down on the coconut tree. But chicka chicka boom boom, look, there's a full moon. A is out of bed, and this is what he said. Dare, double dare, you can't catch me, I'll beat you to the top of the coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom. The end.
We're at the point in our service where we share our joys and sorrows, our joys with each other to magnify them, and our sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you are so moved, please feel free to come forward, state your name, and drop a pebble in the bowl and express a joy or a sorrow that you may have. For those attending via live stream, feel free to type in the chat, and we will be more than happy to share your joy or sorrow.
My name is Carolyn Bomarito. I am really happy to be back in UUMAN after a 5-year absence, which was after like 25 to 30 years of being here. So I was going to make this into a joy and a sorrow, but there's really nothing sorrow, so I'm going to just make it all one big joy. A couple of years ago, I had a big financial setback, and I was blessed to be invited to live with Daria, one of our members here, for for a year and a half. And now it's time. We're getting into what would have been a sorrow, but it's really not. Now it's time for me to move on. So if you know of anyone who has a space to rent somewhere in this general area that will not break my bank, please find me in Fellowship Hall after the service and let me know. Thank you. Well, the reason it's not a sorrow is because it's really a big adventure. That's what I'm calling, and that's what I'm going with. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dan, and my wife Erin. You know, grab a stone. We have a big joy this morning. As it's 2 in the morning, our grandson Theodore Hayes was born.
Hi, my name is Chloe Jones. I'm a member of this congregation. I have a sorrow and a joy, and they're related. The sorrow is that about a month ago, my grandpa passed away after 9 years with Alzheimer's. But the joy is that A, we were with him, and B, it's just been an opportunity for a lot of, just knowing the people in my life that are supporting me. I was able to see my cousins who I never see. And my friend Rachel is visiting me this weekend, so I just have a lot of support, and that's nice, as much as I will miss him, because he took care of me when I was little, so we were very close. So.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Rawson, and I have a big joy that on July 20th, my third granddaughter, Skylar Elizabeth Scruggs, was born, and she's healthy, and she's home from the hospital now. Thank you.
I'm Melinda. I'm a member of this church, and for 5 weeks I've been fostering 2 little kittens. They're precious as can be, but they have found an adopter, and so they're to leave me tomorrow. I'm relieved, but also, it's been a joy. But I'm also asking for healing vibes. One of the kittens got stressed during the adoption process, so has some eye infection. So trying to get that cleared up so he can continue on his journey. So joy, sorrow, and the next, what tomorrow brings. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Etheridge. It began as a big shock and hard time, but it's better now, so it's a joy. My daughter, Lawton's daughter, our daughter, lives in Amagansett, New York, way out at the end of Long Island. She was stopping at a local filling station, and an old truck that they had adopted, she got out of it to get gas, failed to put it in gear. She thought she had, and the car ran over her. So she, very scary, she has broken 2 or 3 vertebrae in her back. She shattered her elbow, but it could have been much worse. So we're so thankful for that. She's got a great positive attitude and all kind of people around her that love her. And I love her, and I could be around her, but I couldn't be of help. So I would have no car and really nowhere to stay. She's left. They took her from the gas station to a bigger hospital than the one out there close to her, and for surgery. And then she went to a rehab in Southold. And I think this coming week, she's going to her fiance's sister's home that is there on the bay, and it'll be a pretty place to recuperate, and the therapist will come to her. So it was really scary, but now we're feeling much, much better. I think they're predicting that she'll be able to have full use of her elbow. She's a big, she and her fiance, they run, they do everything. So I think it's going to be a haul, but down the road, I think Jennifer will be herself again.
My name's Michael Arnett. I'm a member of this congregation. I've got two joys. So first joy, you know who came to Wheeler High School, Cobb County. My wife and I went to the protest there, and it was her first protest. It was my third. So I was really happy that she wanted to come, and we had a blast. It was very interesting. There was one side where the Democrats, and the other side of the street were the Trump folks, Republicans, and what made it interesting versus other protests I've gone to, we kind of had both sides there, literally across the street. So it made it really dynamic and interesting. And the only people on the other side of the street were the ones that actually weren't in it was basically a political rally at our public school, which was the main reason I was there. But of course, in Cobb County, we have our school board is Republican and entrenched, in Ragsdale. You've probably heard of him. Maybe he'll leave some point. So that was very fun. I had a great time. Glad my wife wanted to do that. I think we're going to do more in the future. So my other joy is my daughter Ellery and her friend Alex is going to play at the offertory. So really happy.
I am Richard Bomba, a member here, and I'm going to try to save my voice, so I'm not going to say much other than I passed the audition to be a permanent member of the Michael O'Neill Singers on Monday. I'm going to be singing today with the Michael O'Neill Singers at 3 o'clock at Roswell United Methodist Church for our big celebration of our 250th birthday of our country. And it is, as far as social justice goes, this is the most powerful singing I have ever done, because we're singing spirit of democracy. We're speaking all about democracy, and we're doing major, huge works that are just full of how this country is. It can't be divided. Our democracy and the words in it are just so meaningful. So that's exciting. And then, of course, as a member of Johns Creek, as a member of the Michael O'Neill Singers, I'll be singing with the Johns Creek Symphony Orchestra in a couple months, and doing the Messiah for the first time, and that's going to be hard. And so, save the voice. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gus Haydorn. I have two first cousins right now that are really struggling. They're near the end of their life and they're in the hospital. They're very important in my life, particularly my younger life. And one is Irving Van Huss, and the other is Bobby Woody.
Sorry, I'm Lynn Hannon, and I'm also a member. And when I heard Gus say that about his cousins, I just wanted to say that Al Santos, who is a member here, he left for Brazil yesterday. His father isn't doing well. He's in palliative care, and it turns out his wife, Andrea, who's also a member, she was already down there taking care of her mother, so the two of them are together. So just so you know about Al, keep him in your hearts.
Hi there, I'm Chris Wilson, member of the dedicated live stream team. I've got one concern, and actually a personal concern that I'm going to share today. From the live stream, Marion Cohen is out of being in the hospital for over a week with too much calcium in her blood. That was shared by Michelle Liebergazelle. And my own is actually more of a joy. I think my wife Denise mentioned last week that my mother just went into hospice services, and the joy is how much pain relief, suffering relief, and joy that hospice really brings to everybody. If you've ever thought of hospice as other than something like the Grim Reaper, it's got kind of a stigma. It's not that at all. Instead, it actually does bring a lot of relief, and it's not just for the patient, it's actually for the families as well. So my joy is hopefully you all will discover when the time is right in your life or for your loved ones, the joy that hospice can actually bring.
And I am going to drop a final pebble for those who have joys or sorrows that are too tender to escape the folds of their hearts. If you will please keep everyone in your thoughts through the week. As we mentioned earlier, today's speaker is Joel Kottman, neurodiverse author, advocate, and public speaker. Diagnosed at a young age with a basket of issues that put him somewhere on the autism spectrum, Joel learned early that communication was not only about words, but body language, shifts in tone, facial expressions, personal space, implied social rules had to be consciously studied instead of intuitively understood. That reality led to awkward moments, misunderstandings, occasional conflicts. It also shaped Joel's ability to notice what others took for granted. School, college, employment, and community life all came with expectations that were not always explained out loud. While others seemed to know the hidden rule book, Joel had to learn those rules through experience, reflection, support, and more than a few hard lessons. Over time, those experiences became part of that purpose, of his purpose. Joel earned his Bachelor of Science in Communication Studies with a minor in psychology from Southern Illinois University. Joel uses storytelling, humor, and honest reflection in his recently released book, I'm an Odd Duck, to help families, educators, and fellow odd ducks better understand neurodiversity. His book is now available on Amazon. He's passionate about the importance of self-advocacy and humanizing neurodiverse individuals as important contributors to the society. Joel has been a speaker at many UU congregations across the Southeast, including his own, which is Georgia Mountain's UU Church in Dahlonega. His message resonates deeply with our UU principles, especially the commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every person. If everyone would please welcome Joel.
Thank you for having me, everybody. It's good to be here today. How are we all doing today? Good, that's great. Well, today we're going to be talking about neurodiversity. And being different is my topic today, specifically referring to neurodiversity. Now, we all have differences. It's just that some are more apparent than others. Neurodiversity is often used in the context of autism spectrum disorder, ASD, as well as other neurological and developmental conditions such as ADHD, dyslexia, and other learning disabilities. While our differences vary widely, I believe many here today can empathize with the social and emotional challenges that come from being different. If not, I'm sure you know family members or friends who have faced those challenges. First, a little bit about me. In the 2nd grade, I was diagnosed with nonverbal learning disorder. If you're not familiar with nonverbal learning disorder, you might assume it means that person is not verbal. Well, as my friends and family will tell you, I'm the opposite of nonverbal. Nonverbal learning disorder just simply means I sometimes have a hard time picking up on or recognizing nonverbal cues or body language. Since 70% of communication is nonverbal, according to Psychology Today, this disability has and continues to be challenging for me. Also, I do not always anticipate how others might misinterpret what I say. And this has led me into more than a few awkward situations. Having nonverbal learning disorder puts me somewhere on the autism spectrum. A common stereotype of people on the spectrum is that they are introverted math or computer nerds. And yeah, I do have a lot of friends like that. However, not everyone on the spectrum is Rain Man. To paraphrase an old saying, if you've met one neurodiverse person, you've met one neurodiverse person. I am an extrovert with a math disability, and I enjoy writing. I love words, puns, and satire. I'm a huge Monty Python fan and love Randy Newman. No, not the 1990s Randy Newman. The 1970s Randy Newman. I'm sure some of you recall the vicious satire of some of his songs back then. In 2022, I graduated cum laude from Southern Illinois University with a Bachelor's of Communications and a minor in psychology. While attending college, I lived independently, acted in community theater, and was a staff reporter for the student newspaper. My neurodiversity puts me in some pretty good company with some famous folks. Singer Susan Boyle, journalist Eric Garcia, environmentalist Greta Thunberg, gymnast Simone Biles, and actor Anthony Hopkins are all neurodiverse. Neurodiversity can show up in many ways, often characterized by neurotypical people, that might be most of you, as quirky, antisocial, a bit of an odd duck. Which is why the title of the book I have written isn't called I'm an Odd Duck. And many of us also have physical differences or disabilities that can set us apart, myself included. Because of those characteristics, people with these differences often face ableist prejudices, bigotry, and bias, typically starting at a young age. Kids can be cruel. In my elementary school, a few kids formed a We Hate Joel club during recess. One example of club activity was pushing the soccer net over me and kicking me until a teacher intervened. Lucky for me, starting in the 4th grade through high school, I was able to attend schools where bullying was not tolerated and differences were welcomed. One challenge for many neurodiverse individuals is sensory overload. Imagine walking into the room where the lights are blinding and buzzing, every whisper feels like a shout, and the fabric of your clothing feels like sandpaper on your skin. These are just some examples of sensory overload. When this occurs, a neurodiverse person's brain gets flooded by sensory inputs which cause anxiety. For example, busy airports with the noise, the lights, the crowds, that can produce anxiety for anyone, right? Yeah. But for a neurodiverse person, they're a nightmare. I want to share a story I heard. There was this neurodiverse boy, he was around 10 years old, going through TSA security with his family. Hidden in the very bottom of his backpack was a journal where he wrote about his feelings every day. He was very private about that diary and shared it with no one. When a TSA agent started digging through his backpack, the boy blurted out, "Oh, you don't want to look any deeper in there." Well, the TSA agent froze and then slowly looked up to his parents, who were stumbling all over themselves to explain the situation. For several years, that boy had a phobia about TSA agents. I know that story is true because that little boy was me. These days, emotional or physical bullying isn't limited to school. The internet allows bullies to hide their cruelty behind screens. Perhaps some of you have experienced that. One of my experiences with cyberbullying occurred after being accepted into FEMA Corps 3 years ago. Genuinely seeking to build connections, I joined a Snapchat group of a couple dozen new teammates before we met up for training in California. As a group of early 20-something college graduates, I would say this group was very socially aware or woke. Everyone was proudly sharing their pronouns, which were quite varied. Well, so far, so good, right? Yeah. Taking a cue from what I had heard at the inclusive welcoming message at my home UU congregation in Dahlonega, and without thinking about how it might come across, I wrote, "I'm done with labels altogether." Yeah, that did not go over well. I was effectively canceled before the program even started. Once we met up in California, and some noticed I was a bit quirky and socially awkward, it went downhill from there. My attempts to fit in were misinterpreted and misconstrued at every turn. Well, the staff could see I was not intentionally offending anybody, and they knew I had a good heart, but the damage was already done. We agreed it would be best for me to come home and resign. Now that was a very hard and depressing lesson. However, I did learn some very valuable lessons, including that I just wasn't socially mature enough for that kind of experience. But looking back, I also think it was ironic that these young adults, who were so focused on being socially appropriate, were willing to bully someone who was neurodiverse. These experiences have left me with a distrust of people. My heart has been broken into a million little pieces over and over again. But time and time again, I have been able to piece myself back together. This is like the Japanese art of kintsugi. Kintsugi is the process of repairing broken pottery by mending the cracks with powdered gold. Though the scars remain, I am now stronger and more resilient. These experiences, both positive and negative, prove that people are capable of unspeakable cruelty, but also unimaginable kindness. This brings me to the more challenging part. Time for some introspection. When you hear the term neurodiverse, what is the first assumption or stereotype that pops into your mind? And where do you think you learned it? Neurodiverse individuals may have trouble verbalizing or even expressing their emotions. They struggle with social appropriateness, but that does not mean that they are robots or Vulcans, logical yet incapable of emotion. Neurodiversity is a wide spectrum. That's why conversations like these matter, so we can better understand each other, no matter where we are in life. Because of these differences, sometimes obvious and sometimes subtle, according to the National Institute of Health, 85% of neurodiverse people with a baccalaureate degree are unemployed or underemployed. So what can you do to support neurodiverse people? I want to share a few specific suggestions from my own lived experience. These aren't just theories, they are concrete ways you can support the odd ducks among us, people who process the world differently. Be open to different communication styles. Some of us take a minute to process thoughts internally before speaking. Please know that silence does not mean disinterest. It just means this person may be deeply processing what you just said. Don't force eye contact. In my experience, forcing eye contact can be incredibly uncomfortable or distracting. For many of us on the spectrum, we can actually focus and listen to you much better when we aren't being pressured to look you in the eye. Accept stimming. Collectively, stimming refers to behaviors like rocking, hand flapping, staring at nothing in particular, or repeating words. These actions are how some of us relieve anxiety and stay grounded. Accepting these behaviors without judgment shows respect for the neurodiverse person. Offer options upon noticing someone is uncomfortable. I appreciate it when people offer choices instead of assuming behaviors that are more socially accepted. Simply asking, would you prefer a quiet space or to stay here, empowers a neurodiverse person to advocate for their own needs without feeling put on the spot. Ask before touching. Even the most well-intentioned friendly gestures, like a sudden pat on the back, can feel completely overwhelming to a sensitive nervous system. Use clear, direct language. Finally, many of my ND friends, myself included, thrive when people use clear, concise, and direct language. Speaking with simple, straightforward words helps reduce anxiety and prevents that painful misunderstandings that happen when language is a bit too abstract or vague. Avoid making assumptions that reveal a soft bigotry of low expectations. While in college, I attended a community-wide social justice event recognizing Juneteenth. The speaker introduced a person who worked with special needs people. After the program, I walked over to introduce myself. With a rather patronizing tone, she asked, "Where is your chaperone?" And then took me by the arm and said, "Why don't you come over here and sit with Daryl?" Who was apparently some neurotypical guy she knew. What? This is an important one. Call out bigotry and prejudice when you see and hear it. For example, some words are very ugly to neurodiverse people, especially the infamous R word. For Star Trek fans, it rhymes with Picard. Far-right social media influencers and powerful public figures, including a certain tech trillionaire, who is the world's wealthiest man, carelessly tossed the slur around, reinforcing old prejudices and signaling to millions that this cruel language is somehow acceptable. How ironic, since Elon Musk himself has publicly acknowledged being on the spectrum. He may be brilliant and obscenely wealthy, but I think he's impoverished in spirit. I don't get political with sermons, but it's not a political statement to suggest that the President of the United States should not use the R word. However larger than life such people may appear, the use of this language reveals they are actually small and incapable of empathy, especially to those who have challenges to overcome. When leaders model this kind of language, it emboldens others to treat ND people as less than, to see our existence as a punchline rather than a full, valuable life. The casual slinging of slurs reinforces the dangerous myths that ND people are broken, inferior, or undeserving of respect. Always remember, words matter. Language shapes reality. On a positive note, there are many people who routinely apply these suggestions in support of neurodiverse people. In particular, I'd like to thank all the educators who work with neurodiverse students. The educators in my journey, they have the knowledge and the experience, not to mention a lot of patience, to encourage, support, and even give me a firm push to advocate for myself. I'd like to end with an aspiration and a quote. First, the aspiration. Our goal should be to take the dis out of disability. That leaves us with nothing but our amazing ability. Finally, a quote from the great Greek philosopher Gus Portokalos from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Here tonight, we have apple and orange. We all different, but in the end, we all fruit. May it be so.
How amazing. Absolutely wonderful. In an effort to fulfill and further the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members and friends share their time, talent, and treasures. With this, we will now take the offering. You may also use the Give Now option in the Breeze app or web browser. Our 50-50 partner this month is NFCC, North Fulton Community Charities, on their Back to School project. Any donations designated for 50-50 will go to support their work. So please give generously.
Hello? Can everyone hear me good? Yes. Okay, my name is Ellery Arnett. I'm a member of this congregation, and this is Alex Shabani, and we're going to be performing one of his original songs titled Cardinal. Before we begin singing, I would like to, if I may, take a little time to speak about an issue that's important to me and many other members of the neurodiverse community. Does anyone know anything about the troubled teen industry? Show of hands? Okay. So, the troubled teen industry is an industry that seeks to basically make money off of, I know there's a smarter word for that, I just can't remember it right now, neurodiverse, disabled, and the individuals struggling with their mental health. It is a deeply predatory industry that abuses these oftentimes minors and young people, but it can happen to adults as well. This song was written about Alex's experiences with the troubled teen industry. He was in the industry for about 6 years. And this song is also, it's called Cardinal because it's also about coming home to those you love and others like you, other neurodiverse individuals, and the support that can bring. So it's kind of a double meaning with that. Anyway, I just wanted to spread a little bit of awareness about that. So yeah, here's our song. Root beer, sipping on gin, no plans, no sleep, just sitting. I could wait forever in this empty building, no plans, no dreams, just living. And I think I just might. Look in the mirror, look back at me. In this damn town, I'm always surrounded by green. I used to climb those trees in the backyard, watching the world in the daylight fade away. Look in the water, I'm losing time. In 6 years, I got everything back that was mine. I used to climb that old blue busted car, watching the stars through the gaps in the branches. And I've been watching the sky again. Tapping at my heartbeat, tapping on my skin. When I'm with you, we're flying. Listen to you breathing, listen to you sing, but I'm still scared to blink because I'm waiting on it all to disappear. I'm still waiting on you to prove me right. One more time. Look out the window, I'll run away. I never know which home is home these days. Look in the water, look back at you. In my dreams, I'm always drowning in blue. She whispers, every dream you destroy, every foot on the brake, every handle you turn, every breath that you take is a fire that will burn and burn and burn. It'll eat all of you.
Now, if you will please rise up as you are willing and able to sing hymn number 1057, Go Lift It Up from the Softback Hymnal. We now extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Carpe diem, dreamer. Do not wait for permission from clocks, from crowds, from critics, or from fear. Morning has never asked whether you were ready. It simply arrives, gold spilling over rooftops, calling your name before you've remembered how extraordinary it is to simply be alive. Take the hand of wonder. Shake hands with uncertainty. Laugh with strangers. Call your grandmother. Tell your friend they mattered. Read the poem. Write the poem. Sing the ridiculous song. Cry when your heart has earned its rain. For the days do not stack forever. They become memories, some polished by gratitude, others softened by forgiveness. Do not spend your years waiting to become somebody worthy of living. You already are. Stand, speak, dance badly, paint loudly, love deeply, apologize sincerely, forgive slowly, but do forgive. Leave behind more encouragement than cynicism, more curiosity than certainty, more tables where everyone finds a chair. Gather your nieces, your nephews, your chosen family, your fellow travelers, and go to forests, to roller coasters, to bookstores, to oceans, to places where laughter echoes long after the day is done. When life whispers, "Not yet," answer, "Why not now?" When fear says, "Stay small," answer, "The sky has room." And when tomorrow tries to convince you that today doesn't matter, remember, each story, every great story, was once a single, ordinary morning that someone chose not to waste. So seize the day, not because time is your enemy, but because life is your invitation. As the title of the Nickelback song reminds us, if today was your last day, what kindness would you finally say? What dream would you finally begin? What love would you finally stop hiding? Go. The world has enough spectators. It has always needed one more dreamer, brave enough to step onto the stage, lift their eyes, draw a deep breath, and answer the sunrise with a wholehearted yes. Go in peace and enjoy your week.